trying to bring you into conversation, but I can't think of a Chelsea player that would get into the conversation with these here. Cole Palmer would, but I think Cole Palmer's a bit more. I think you'd compare it with Saka more than you would with a Cam.
I don't know though, because Saka's a wide man and Cole Palmer isn't.
Caicedo. I'll take Caicedo.
Naturally, as a winger though.
Who?
Palmer. But he's like sort of like free run role, isn't it? He just drifts into the middle.
No, because earlier.
He's like a Foden, isn't it? Like a Foden.
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't
like a false nine.
You basically don't get the best out of him out wide. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. However you want to categorize him, I'm just like you will not get the best out of Cole Palmer, and that's what happened. Maresca realized that very early. I remember definitely one game, might have been more than one game earlier on in the season. He put Palmer wide and had Nkunku as like the cam.
Yeah,
and then it wasn't long before that changed. Palmer came into the middle, and that's essentially what lost Nkunku his spot in the team. Because it was like, so that's what happened. Now I remember. Then it became, okay, Palmer's come into the middle, and they put Nkunku out wide. Nkunku was ineffective out wide, and then essentially he lost his place in the team. So, I don't know. I don't think you can compare Saka and Palmer.
I was going to say on a side note, I remember when we were on the way up here, you said that you were going to throw a little curveball question at us. You were like, maybe wait until...
Yeah, it's not really a curveball, but what I was going to say was... And the reason why I feel like it's interesting for us three to speak about this, and we've already touched on it today already, is because we've obviously got a new manager.
Yeah.
You guys have got a new manager. Both of them there's questions being asked of them. Are they good enough, etc. The counter argument is that they're not the problem. It's upstairs.
Yeah. The
board and whatnot is the problem. And with that board, both in Chelsea and United situation, regardless of who you bring in, is it going to basically just be rinse and repeat with whatever manager? And also it's interesting to bring you in because obviously you will stick by your manager naturally a lot more than, for example, me and Kuram might. But at the same time, if you don't win anything this season, like we've already discussed, you have to start asking questions of Arteta. So it's not really a curveball, but all my question was going to be, with the current crop of managers out there, without the obvious choice of like a Pep Guardiola, if you had an opportunity at the end of the season to replace your manager, A, would you, and B, who would you replace him with?
I think it comes down to what everyone's saying, isn't it? Arsenal is like Netflix.
Waiting for the next season.
Waiting for the next season. A lot of Arsenal fans I've spoken to that were proper behind Arteta, and I haven't spoken to you about this yet, but they were like, before the season, actually halfway in the season, about November, December time, they were like, this is the year, he has to win something. Now, if you haven't won it again, and you're going to three-peat second place, actually you might even get second place. It looks like City might take it. To be honest, regardless, top four, it doesn't matter, innit? If you're not first, the rest doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's no motivation for the league now, whether second, third.
Yeah, exactly. So, to be honest, can you still finish fifth?
I think all we need really is 3 points, which I think...
If they lose all their games, I think, from now to the end of the season, then depending on how the other results go...
but...
I don't know where they'll finish, but they could slip down.
We've got Southampton last game of the season, so...
It would have been amazing if the Europa League winner knocked off fifth place, but it's 6 teams getting now, isn't it?
Look, Arteta gets a lot of stick here, but what I would say is that it's not as linear as, he's been here for 5 years and he's had no success. In actuality, right, he's only built his team over the last 3 seasons, right? We've got that breakout season, and then 2 years of actually competing to try and win the league title.
Yeah.
So I think that this season and last season were probably the years where you could say, okay, he's actually built a really good team now. But I still feel like he might have perhaps maybe 1 more year where he can add in a few extra players for depth.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to say, he's been here for 5 years, not won much, right? But I would say actually he should be measured or judged from the last 3 seasons, because that's where you can say, okay, well, he's competed for the last 3 years, and this is actually his team. Before, he's still getting rid of players, still bringing players in. So I feel like this next season that's coming, I think this is going to be like make or break.
But one thing I wanted to say to you last week, I forgot to say actually. I was going to say, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to address it now. You know when you say that 3 years he's built his team, that I get 100%. He came into a mess. Arsenal were a mess. Just like Amram's come into a mess, like Maresca came into a mess. But with Arteta, I think, if you were competing on all
you're up to something, I know.
He's up to something.
He's smiling at me.
I'm not. I'll just literally fact checking something.
With Arteta,
fake news.
I think you've been out of every competition so early, usually. Since he's been in for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
This is the first season you've got to a semi-final since he's come in. Semi-final of the Champions League, it's big. The way you got there.
And I think it's the first time we've lost at home since we've been back in the Champions League.
The game to PSG?
Yeah.
Inter beat you away, innit? At San Siro?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think questions have to be asked. That's why I think are Arsenal as big as club as Chelsea and United, because of the way they behave, the way they operate. Like 5 years without. Okay, fair enough. You won the FA Cup in the first 8 months, but after that, going out of every competition early, finishing back to back at 8th, and then okay, yeah, fair enough. Last 3 years, he's done well to try and win that league title.
Well,
I just think,
Sorry, just off topic, but to bring it back to what we were saying earlier, you know how you said about who would be Chelsea's player when you were having the conversation between Bruno and Odegaard. Not to obviously, before you man come for me and say, oh, you're trying to say he's better than Odegaard, but our player for that would probably be, especially if Lavia's in the team, be Enzo Fernandez. And again,
when you mentioned Enzo earlier, I was going to say...
I'm not looking to get into whether Enzo's better, but for example, like again, I'm not a stat man, right? But for example, Enzo's got better stats, GNA than Odegaard this season, for example.
Yeah.
He's having quite a good season.
But again, I think it's a recency bias, right? Because like I mentioned before, you've got a player there who was injured for 3 months, 4 months, right? Yeah. And has had his worst season compared to perhaps an Enzo.
Who's probably having his best season. Yeah, I concede that. Yeah.
But I think, with them...
Sorry, just get back to the point, yeah? Only because I want to wrap this bit up quickly, yeah? Move on.
Come on, bro, you want to come for me?
Yeah, no, but literally, so answer the question, innit? If, A, would you replace your manager at the end of the season? And B...
No.
Even if you could replace him with anyone you wanted? That's the question, right? That's what I'm trying to ask you.
No.
Bro, that would actually be dumb for a United fan to say, I want to get rid of Amram. Bro, he's not even had his first transfer window in the summer.
Even bring anyone if you could get any manager you wanted. Let's say with the exception of Pep.
No, because this guy was like, get me this guy was like, get me Frimpong. They went and got him Dorgu. So, it's all above it. You know what I mean? Not that...
What the hell?
No, it's not that Dorgu's a bad player. He looks like... Some games, he looks like, okay, you know what? He
looks like Frimpong, so it must be alright.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, he looks like... Bro, he looks like he could be like Frimpong's dad, bro.
Frimpong's granddad.
Bro, that passport needs to be checked.
So hold on, let me just get this straight, yeah? Any manager in the world, with the exception of... Like I said, for obvious reasons, Pep, you'd keep.
Yeah.
Bro, Pep would never come to United anyway.
No, forget that. But you. So like you just said, yeah, Klopp. You wouldn't take Klopp.
No, I wouldn't. Just because of the.
Bro, it's not even realistic. That question is.
I wouldn't want it.
That's why I said it's a hypothetical, right? This is a test to see kind of what you actually feel about your manager and how.
But as a United fan, you probably wouldn't even want those scenarios of a Pep or a.
So Arsenal, yeah, they finished the season with nothing, right? Which is what it's looking like anyway.
No, we'll see, innit?
Yeah, we'll see. You're not replacing Arteta if you can replace him with anyone you want.
Bro, I love Arteta. Bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what these Arsenal fans, they love Arteta. They love Arteta more than they love Arsenal. There's an obsession with Arteta.
Do you know what's so funny? You say that.
No.
Bang on. You know why it's so funny you say that? Because before Arteta, yeah, Arsenal fans loved Wenger more than they loved Arsenal.
Yeah.
Bro, it was the same thing, bro.
Like to a point where they're fighting.
Yeah, the mans who are obviously Team Wenger loved Wenger more than they loved Arsenal. We've got examples of that amongst our friends. I'm not going to expose him, yeah, but a certain individual actually said to me, the day Wenger leaves Arsenal, I might even stop watching Arsenal. That's when I'm not, and you're right. It's the same thing with Arteta now. You love him more than you love Arsenal.
But I look at Emery when he came in, right, and I look at Arteta when he came in. I don't think there's a manager that would have been able to accelerate the growth that Arsenal had in terms of getting rid of that deadwood, fixing everything, as he's done. Because Emery tried it, and he brought in some dead players. Yeah, Arteta came in, got rid of everything. Like you could get some of these other smaller managers, right, or like. Stopgap managers, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they would have had the same pull as Arteta has in terms of fixing things and actually trying a proper rebuild. So I feel like, from an Arsenal fan's perspective, I feel like, well, at least he's able to accelerate this process as much as possible.
Yeah, I think with the
basically you just love Arteta then.
No, what I'm saying is that look, Emery came in. You
said it yourself, but I love him, bro.
Yeah, bro. What I'm saying is, look, I understand the heat, but I think he needs another season at least to bring in a few extra players, right?
Another season. Bro. You said another couple or another one?
I was waiting for this, bro. Honestly, I was.
He said not
that I'm trying to set traps, but I was waiting for this. Another season, another. It's the same thing we hear.
No, look, you can love a manager, right? But then you need to have the thinking cap on, right? And then you need to take it off, put it on, right?
So next season, yeah. So I don't understand. Like, okay, what needs to happen now next season in order?
Well, I just think there was mitigating circumstances in this year, right? Because we had a lot of. Because we had a lot of injuries, red cards. We've not had the depth. Where I feel like even he's
Well,
saying
Arsenal
himself,
Football Club are mitigated circumstances.
bro, and even he's saying that we're gonna go big, right? If he doesn't, bro, get him out of the club now.
Wenger was like, let me pay off. He was like, let me pay off Emirates the stadium from my own pocket. We'll go big. He never went big once. He spent 750 million already.
Bro, my man went, we're going to go big and sign Kai Havertz, bro. He said, we're going to go big and sign Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Bro, they're going
Sterling
to go big and sign Mudryk from us.
Yeah.
That's going to be their big.
You know Chelsea would were like, you know when they took Sterling, they were like, yeah, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Sterling, bro, I never even wanted him when Chelsea signed him. Thomas Tuchel signed him, I was thinking, bro, what?
No, but I think there is something to the fact that he has accelerated the progress in terms of fixing everything at Arsenal, right?
I agree with that.
Emery came in and wasn't able to do
can't
that.
admit that he hasn't done a good
No, of
decent
course,
job.
of
He's done a
course, of
decent
course.
job.
Right.
All jokes aside, I'm not
really
denying that.
his assessment should really be only over 3 seasons, because prior to that, bro, it was such a terrible team. He inherited a team
This is what
that
I
was
mean.
worse than Ten Hag.
Arsenal fans create different standards for Arteta.
Okay, tell me this. First of all, tell me this.
We should only,
the
even though
team,
he's been there for 5, is it 5 seasons?
bro.
now? But we should only hold him to account for the last 3. Why?
Tell me this. The team that Arteta inherited, right, was it worse than the team that Ten Hag inherited?
No, but regardless of that, it wasn't as bad as the team that Klopp inherited.
Bro, you're saying it was not as bad.
Ten Hag won more trophies, isn't it?
Bro, I'm talking about.
He did
that supports what I'm saying, because you had a better team, bro. When Ten Hag came into the job, bro, he had players that were coming in with Sancho, Ronaldo, Varane, Casemiro, bro. We had, bro. Look, do you know who we had on the bench? We had a man like Gunduzi and Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, but Maitland-Niles was going to be the next best thing.
No, man, stop capping now, right? So
listen. Cool. We can carry this on, yeah, but I'm just conscious, yeah. We've got 15 minutes left. I don't know if you lot got any quick fire stuff. To be fair, we've actually had some interesting conversations from a content perspective.
Don't worry, a lot of stuff is getting edited.
But but I'm just saying, like, just obviously conscious of the time. I don't know if you lot had quick fire stuff that you're hoping.
Let me just ask you something quick, just straight off the mark here.
Yeah.
Last week, I don't know if you remember, but there was some heat with Eni Aluko. Do you remember?
Yeah.
With the Ian Wright stuff, where she was basically saying he's taking jobs away from women commentators, right? I just want to ask you: is there a place for women in the men's game?
This is a tough topic. This is a controversial topic, mate. I don't want to get thrown off already.
Don't want a YouTube violation. YouTube violation.
Replace that podcast like, after 2 weeks. But Eni Aluko's gonna be tweeting me. She's like, wait, who's that? Give him up. Taking jobs from us.
Come down to the studio.
To be honest, you know, like there's
Bro, say it with chest, man.